Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. It looks like Newcastle weren't done in the summer window after all, as it now appears we will be bringing in a new goalkeeper. Don't get too excited. It seems that Karl Darlow has picked up an injury, so we've picked up the phone and tried to bring in a replacement ASAP. It's understood that Karius is actually in Newcastle right now, having a medical, pending his free signing to us. The summer window has ended, but teams can still bring in players on a free. Not great news to hear that Darlow's had an injury, but it's good to hear that we've been quick, we've been active, and we've tried to resolve this pretty quickly. I should say, by the way, I'm currently stood at a bus stop. I had to bring my car into the garage. It was having some issues, and it's raining, and this video will probably last as long as it takes for the bus to arrive, which hopefully won't be too long because I'm soaking. But anyway, I thought I'd jump on and talk about this one. You've no doubt seen it already, and I don't think I'll have time to edit it either. But let me know your thoughts on the fact that Newcastle are bringing in Karius down below. The last I saw of him, really, and I imagine it's the same for most of yous, is the howler he had for Liverpool. Now, he was still signed to Liverpool up until this summer, where he was released on a free. His contract ended. He had, in the meantime, been on loan at Besiktas. I think he was on loan at Berlin as well. And if I'm honest, I've not seen those loan stints, so I can't really talk too much about that. What I can talk about is what we saw of him in his time in a Liverpool shirt, and obviously it wasn't great. They chose to replace him. I think the big thing was it was such a high profile poor game in that Champions League game, and because of that, I've no doubt his confidence was crushed. I've no doubt that Liverpool lost faith in him as a player. But let's not forget that they did bring him in the first place. You know, he was a good goalkeeper to start with. They brought him in for a reason, and at the end of the day, Nick Pope's our number one. Nick Pope is number one. He's the man that will start against West Ham this weekend. He is the man who will start throughout this season. But you still need to have three goalkeepers on the books. With Darlow getting injured, that leaves Pope and Gillespie. And we've moved quickly to try and bring in that third goalie. So could we potentially see Karius play in the Carabao Cup against Crystal Palace? Possibly. But I do not expect him to challenge with Nick Pope. But it's just sod's law, isn't it? That Dubravka goes, and literally within a week, Karl Darlow goes and picks up an injury. As I say, I think the main thing right now is that Nick Pope is being absolutely fantastic. He will keep his place. This is not a high-profile signing. This is us bringing in a player to help bolster the ranks. I believe he's 29 years old now, and as I say, it's understood that he's actually in Newcastle right now having his medical. So bad news for Karl Darlow in terms of his injury. It's an ankle injury, and they expect it to only be short term, to be fair. It's understood that he will be out until, I think, the approaching World Cup, so should be similar to maybe John Joe Shelby. Should be fine to be back. Sorry, this is normally quite a quiet road, but there seems to be lots of cars going by when I'm talking. Probably shut us up. Karl Darlow is expected to be back kind of after the World Cup, so it's thought that Karius' deal may well only be till January. So that is a short-term deal. That is literally a few months just to pad out the squad in the time that Karl Darlow is injured. So we'll obviously see how he gets on. I can't really say a lot, as I've mentioned. We all saw the Champions League game. We all saw his time in the Premier League. So at least he didn't excel in the Premier League, but at least he's used to the league. At least he's been here. He knows the games that he could well potentially have to feature in. But I think the main thing for us really is that Nick Pope keeps his number one, and Karius is exactly that. He is the backup. So don't expect him to see a lot of him at all. But we will see. We will have to see what happens. And as I say, I think that the main thing is that we got on the phone. Somebody else has come to join me at the bus stop. I think the main thing is we've got on the phone. We've been quick about it. and that we've brought somebody in. As I say, not great for Caldolo, and not great for us. I still think Caldolo is a decent number 2, but I just feel like it's totally our luck, totally Newcastle right now, that Dubravka goes, and literally a week later we have a goalkeeping injury. Now, to say that, Dubravka wanted first team football, so Darlow's injury, in theory, wouldn't have actually changed that. But, you know, to have 5 goalkeepers at the start of this summer with, bringing in Pope, having Woodman, having Darlow, Gillespie, Dubravka, totally us to let people go and then be left with 2 goalkeepers. But as I say, at least we've got in there. I mean, to be honest, free transfers, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with them. It looks like Diego Costa is heading to Wolves if they can get the work permit through in time. Andy Carroll's been linked with Wolves. It looks like Ross Barkley was one that I wouldn't have minded us taking a little chance on, but it looks like I think he's been announced now over in France. I think it's Nice that he went to. So yeah, but there's still a few players floating around, so it would be interesting to see if we could potentially connect with somebody else, but it doesn't particularly look that way. And as I say, I do think the Karius one is really just to bolster that area. So I think it could well be announced as quickly as later on today, in time for the West Ham game. I think he could well be on the bench for the West Ham game, and I do think we are bringing him in ahead of Gillespie. I think had Eddie Howe have thought of Gillespie as the ability to play number 2, then maybe we could have got a youngster to be number 3. If you think so, let me know your thoughts on that down below. I find it slightly strange that if Karius was to come in as number 3, it depends what youngsters we've got on. It depends what youngsters we've got available as well, doesn't it? So yeah, we'll wait and see. But I will be back tomorrow with the full West Ham preview, so be sure to look out for that one. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I don't often record my videos stood in the rain at a bus stop, but it's something new. So drop a like if you enjoyed it. Hopefully my car won't be in the garage again anytime soon, and I'm still looking out for this bus that appears to never be turning up, but I think I've probably bored you long enough and my hair is soaked, so I think it's probably time that I go. But as I say, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to look out for the full preview on the Newcastle West Ham game this weekend. I'm hoping it can be a win. Let me know some early thoughts on that down below. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.